Hey there, beautiful people. I hope you're doing really well. Well, welcome to the 14th of our Uncommon Leadership podcast. And today we have none other than the man himself, Pastor Steve Kennedy. Welcome, Steve.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Welcome. So for those of you who don't know, Steve has just jumped off an aeroplane, flown in from the United States of America, and has landed here. I'd imagine your brain is still coming across the Pacific there somewhere. And so as we dive in today, it is going to be, we're going to throw some questions around, thoughts around, have a conversation, as in we go back a little way now. How far back do we go?
It'd be more than 20, I think.
It must be getting closer.
Yes, yes.
Be pushing there. And so we go back a little way. And so we're going to have a conversation for those of you who are just tuning in. This is a space where we get to disciple, where we get to help, where we talk about leadership, where we talk about the realities of life in ministry and in church. And so we'll see where it goes today. I reckon we're going to have a whole lot of fun, but here we go. Let's just jump straight in. You've just got back from the United States of America.
Yeah.
What were you doing over there?
Well, I'm Australian, obviously, but I was invited over to ride across the country on motorcycles. So I flew to the East Coast, Virginia Beach, the Atlantic, with 7 other riders, plus a support truck with a mechanic, and we rode to the Pacific Ocean. And took 2 weeks to do it.
So it was like Wild Hogs, but different.
Well, we watched Wild Hogs en route one night, actually. Yeah, we felt that was mandatory viewing.
It's a great movie. I watched it when we were in the States once upon a time with Michael Goyne when it first came out. I loved the movie.
Yeah.
Michael thought, I don't get this at all. What's to go with the old guys and motorbikes? But whatever. So you had a great time?
We had a great time. The next day, of course, the entire conversation had to be scripted from the movie. So that shaped the conversation. So yeah, a lot of fun.
Would have been fun.
I didn't go to ride motorcycles. That's true. Yeah. I do about 30,000 kilometres on a motorcycle every year anyway. Yeah. I love that part, but I am very, very big on the iron sharpen iron.
Yep.
And I looked at the other blokes, the other guys that were going, and I made a very quick and clear determination. They are men I want to hang with.
That's good. And obviously, I say obviously, but maybe not, the leader of the gang, so to speak, was a pastor that we have a relationship with.
Yeah, Steve Kelly. No secret, Steve Kelly's, I call them apex leaders. You are Pastor Shane, you're an apex leader. Yeah. You're the top of the tree type leaders. And Psalm 101 verse 5 says, I will make the godly of the land my heroes. I will invite them to my house. So if I can't go to theirs, if they can't come to mine, I go to theirs.
So that's a big commitment to hop on a plane.
Yep.
As in the plane ride is a big commitment.
Yeah.
To position yourself there. Yep. And so you want to be with 6 other riders.
Yeah.
And so proximity is the deal, obviously.
Yep.
So you ride during the day, you sit around and you eat and talk all night, and you come away richer as a result.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a saying that some conversations you got to see eyebrows moving.
Yeah.
You know, we're texting. What the Bible says, the letter killeth and the spirit gives life. And I'm not being sinister, but the text, it doesn't carry emotion, and they're just, when I'm going to have serious conversations or life-changing and altering conversations, I'll do everything in my power to get into the presence of the person I want to talk to.
So, so you're positioning yourself there, and then you obviously, and the point is you want takeaways to take home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, just to give some brevity for what it is, it probably cost me $10,000.
Yeah.
It's 40 hours from my driveway to their driveway on the way.
Yeah.
So I'm 65.
Yep.
So I don't feel it, but my birthday card says that. And but no, I just think it's just worth it.
Yep. Yeah. Why do you think so many people struggle to build relationships like that, where they really do go out of their way to invest into those relationships?
I'm not quite sure exactly. I think people are scared of rejection. That would have to be it, because I know in the years, you get to my age, you've got, I'm more strengthening friendships than getting new ones.
Yeah.
I'm not, the gate there always must be a gate in the fence.
Yeah.
I believe in close friends, not closed friends.
Yep.
So there, must always, whether it's a connect group or whatever group, there has to be a gate for others to come in. But at my age, I'm more strengthening than making new ones.
Yeah.
But I do remember when I was a formative leader, and thinking, I'd like to get into that guy's space. And it's pretty humiliating when you work out they don't have time for you. And I don't know, I'm hypothesising, but perhaps guys do that once or twice and then and give up. But I guess the challenge is, you can either be unmarried all your life or just keep taking girls out. Or in this case, find another leader.
Yeah.
Another thing I would say is when I'm dealing with an apex leader, they're very hard to catch. But they're worth the chase. But once caught, then they give you their full attention. But I think some guys, maybe they think, I rang him, he didn't call me back. Yeah, of course he's got nothing to do but call you back. He's a very busy guy. I've had the same pastor 50 years. And, none of what I say is criticism of him. I love him. But he's big enough to understand what I'm saying. But even now, he doesn't call me. I call him. I'm 65 years old, but I call him. Don't expect him to call me. I go and see him, and he's 2 hours away from where I live. I don't expect him to come and see me. He's the pastor. And he's the man I decided would be my pastor. And I've been blessed enough to have been able to have that relationship since I was 13 years old. I mean, I don't know how personal we want to get. My dad was a Pentecostal pastor and gave my mum 12 children, then left her with a lady from the church. And none of that's malice. That's been dealt with. It's just history. The lady that he married's a nice person. My dad's gone to the next life. But so my mum, with 11 children at home, she taught me one thing. Church is a great place to have your worst day. So she's always been faithful to church and raised her kids in church. And
how old is your mother now?
Mum's 98.
Yeah, I'm aware of how old she is.
Mum's 98. She sends me a text 10 times a week, but never misses to send me a text on a Sunday morning with a scripture and an encouragement. She's an apostle. In my opinion. But this fellow was the youth pastor in the church when I was there, and by God's design and my chasing and his diligence, he's still my pastor.
I love the fact that you've already just gone there, like with your mum and the dad's story and the realities, because I think sometimes people look at people like yourself, myself, that are in ministry or on platforms or whatever, and they may have a perception that we were born with a spiritual silver spoon in our mouth, and it's all been easy for us, and it's like, you're in ministry, it's got to be easy. But that story doesn't sound easy right off the bat, because it leaves you with realities as a young man that you have to deal with, and then you have like those realities, they're part of your formative years, and then you have to work out whether they're going to shape you or you're going to shape them as you move forward.
Yeah, and I'm quick, though, to say, and young people don't get this term, so I don't know if it needs explaining, but I'm quick to say I'm not Robinson Crusoe. Which is the guy trapped on the desert island. In other words, I'm not the only one. I mean, I've learned that nobody gets a hall pass. Certainly look, you might have got a hall pass to 15. You might have got one at 20. But if you're 40, you got a curveball. And so nobody gets a free ride. So that's simply what I had to deal with. But I'm compassionate to other people because they've had to deal with it too. And people have had I still consider I had a really good upbringing. Some people have had horrific times. I personally, I'm thankful for our friendship. As in, like, we go back nearly 20 years now. And I remember the early days when I'd come up and we'd hang out at church here, we'd minister in church. But for me personally, I think some of the greatest moments of our friendship were what happened after church as we ate Thai food in your house and then sat up watching the motorbikes, the GP or Formula One or whatever the case may be, and you'd sit there with your motorbike helmet on in your chair, and we just have a good time. But the sharing in all the in-between parts and the doing life together, I've still got so many fond memories. And then even back at our place when you would come down and we'd be doing the same thing at our house, and my daughters would walk down and you'd have the motorbike helmet on in the house, and they would laugh. And Uncle Steve, at home, you're Uncle Steve, but here at church, you're also Uncle Steve. And I think that's because you are uniquely you. And so
I just want to say thank you for the friendship.
Oh,
'Cause
thank you.
It's deep and it's rich, and there's so many good memories.
Yeah.
And whether they be out, in ministry or out on motorbikes, riding through the rain, and whatever the case may be. I think one of the reasons I agree with you. I think sometimes people are fearful of rejection, and so they don't pursue.
Yep.
It's like they get knocked back once, knocked back twice. Yep. I remember Georgie had formed a friendship with a pastor / female pastor here in the city of one of the larger churches in the city once upon a time. And so Georgie was keen for us, the four of us, to get together. And I'm like, cool, I'll do that. I'll lean into that space because we were only small at the time and learning and wanting to grow and whatever. And so we went along. And I'll never forget the moment where he suggested that I potentially look for other pastors to connect to that had churches maybe the next level up from where we're at. And I'm like, I'm hearing you. Don't need to say it twice. And and you can, in those moments, you can pull back. Yeah. But then came along Pastor Glenn Berteau, and I remember reaching out to Pastor Glenn and offering to buy him a coffee, and he's in Modesto, California. And I got to tell you, I'm so thankful I didn't stop after the rejection. Yeah. And because the gold out of that relationship, it's like it's not the same as yours and Pastor Steve's, because you go back 100 years, not quite, but you know what I mean, a long way. There's lots of history, but I just want to say once again, thank you. I appreciate the friendship. So we're going to be talking about all sorts of things. We'll probably land in what you're doing now in the outback of Queensland, particularly. Do you go into New South Wales as well, or is it more the Queensland space that you're?
Well, Jesus said, "Be a witness in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria." I'm early on, so Queensland's my jurisdiction. I'm well travelled, as you know. But there's just. I've just been in Texas, and of course, you know the saying is "big as Texas." Yeah. Well, they're surprised to know that their state fits in my state 2.5 times.
And I'm sure you're not quiet in telling them as often as you can.
And I mean, that's my state, not my country. So it's massive. And so by the time I'm on the motorbike, and I get around, I don't fly. I tend to spend a lot of time now on the motorbike because it's fast and it's easy. But I stop in every town. So if I give just a 30-second, I was on the state executive of our group of churches for 25 years. This is all sound like narcissism, but just for context.
The ACC,
I was the vice president during that time also for 8 years. Simply said, everybody knows me. Now that's a star that will fade, I get it. But I just, when I handed, Susie and I pastored churches for 40 years. I've handed our church over to my daughter and my son-in-law, who he wouldn't mind me telling you was a drug addict and alcoholic, and got her so radically converted. So that is an amazing story. And so I feel and talk to our leaders, and it's quite unstructured, but I said, look, I feel that I'm positioned to where I don't pastor now, so our geography is vast. So because I don't pastor, I don't have to go here and come back. I can go here, then keep going. So I can be away. Susie and I are married 46 years this coming week. And so if you understand what I'm saying there, we're comfortable not being in each other's pocket. We love each other unbelievably. So I can go, I can be away a few weeks. So we have 300 churches in our state. 100 of them are in regional and outback areas. 92 of those 100 have full-time jobs. So they're truck drivers, butchers, school teachers. So not a lot of glamour in people going out to do a weekend of ministry. In a town of 1,500 where 12 people come to church. But the pastor's got to work as diligently on bringing the word to them as and Pastor Shane, quite frankly, in terms of the body of Christ in our country, and you understand the I don't know who hears this podcast, but the isolation of our country, population-wise, is very unique. There's not another town over the hedge. And so we send our school teachers there for 2 years, as you know, our police officers, our bank tellers, and as soon as 2 years is over, they just hightail it back for the coast and the city.
They're gone.
We are not going to build the kingdom of God if our pastors only stay 2 years.
That's right.
So the currency west is encouragement and validation and, just apparently my birthday's my birthday cards say that I've got some experience now. So to have me go out and simply say, "Hey, you're doing a great job, mate. Seriously, you are." So that's my job in the bush, but my job in the city is to be a trumpet.
Yep.
And just tell everyone we're wondering whether we need to find a mission program to where we do send people to the bush, just like we prepare them to send them to other countries.
Yeah.
Because they're as isolated there as they are if they were to go overseas.
Yep.
So that's the role.
Yep. I think it's wonderful what you're doing and what you bring to those pastors on the ground out there. I don't think you could actually really qualify it, could you? In the sense of how do you explain the oxygen, the fresh air, the breath of God that you will bring into those locations and to because typically if you've got a pastor, you've got a pastor's spouse, maybe some little pastor's kids and it's like they're navigating life and they're navigating drought and they're navigating mines closing down and they're navigating all these realities but when you go there and you put air in their tires and you bring the word of God to them and you see people saved, that's one of the things I've always loved about you. It's like you're a soul winner.
Yeah, well, that's the Sunday job.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I got to drive a semi-trailer this year, helping a pastor deliver 40 tons of hay.
Yeah.
I helped a pastor get a cow out the bog. But the Sunday job is get in the pulpit, preach the word of God, preach it strong. Hebrews 4:12, the word is quick, powerful. We've just done 3 weekends in very small towns, and the end result of that was 50 people minimum that put their hand up to say yes to Jesus. And there are some remarkable stories in there as well.
Yeah.
I won't know all the 50, but there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
A school captain got saved in one of the towns.
Wow.
And the next week went with the local youth group to the coast to a youth conference. So that is going to be a really great story unfolding.
Yeah. And we're aware, obviously, and we won't go into the details, but of someone's family member that's been saved in these realities that they've been praying for, and just their connections are so sweet. And God,
well, that's an enjoyer.
Yeah, that's
one
right.
of our enjoyers.
Yeah.
They have a relative in one of these towns. They flew up for the weekend and attended the meetings with their relative who gave their heart to Christ. Yeah. And that journey is a remarkable story still unfolding as well.
It's very, very sweet. All right, so let's maybe back up then. That's what we're doing now. Let's maybe go back to when you were younger. Yep. And this whole ministry space, obviously you didn't just arrive in ministry, but it was a journey. How did you end up stepping into some of these ministry spaces? Obviously, we just heard about your family scenario.
Yep.
You're in church. You got a youth pastor who is still your pastor.
Yep.
How did you travel down that runway towards ministry?
All right. Well, the first time my pastor, Steve Penny, is his name. Some folk will know him, but to give you his identikit, he had just returned from Vietnam. So he's a Vietnam veteran, a military policeman, and a stunt motorcycle rider. Was the first job he had when he arrived back in Australia. But he's a very austere man, not so much now. I'm like a very adult son, but Pastor Shane, let me say this. This is to me maybe a little bit important, and maybe there's a verse in the Bible where Jesus said, I no longer call you servants but friends. Yeah. Show me the verse where they called him their friend. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I think that could be another reason guys have a little, I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
I don't see my pastor as my friend. Yeah. He's friendly.
So why is that? Let's just pull that thread for a minute.
Oh, because I won't allow it.
Yeah.
It's a bit
but why won't you allow it?
Because I want to serve and follow the calling. If let's say my pastor's an apostle, well, that's a line, that's a continuum. Yeah. But the humanity will go below that and above that and below that and above that. Yeah. And so I don't want to be disappointed, elated. I see the office.
Yeah.
And like we've had that with the American presidency up until just the last decade.
Yeah.
They never called him Donald, they called him Mr. President.
Yeah, they did.
And so it was whether there's a mystique or an honor in that, I've chosen to keep that.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you get what you get, don't you? Like if you're looking for a mate, you'll get a mate. If you're looking for a pastor, you'll get a pastor.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to see. Now, I said, they didn't say, Jesus, you're our friend.
Yeah.
And that's true. Now, he was friendly. My pastor's friendly. Yeah. And we go out fishing. We play golf.
Yeah.
But another thing, I organise my own hats. In other words, I call it the law of the hats.
Yeah.
You know, what hat am I wearing now?
Yeah.
But I organise them. He doesn't ever have to say to me, now, I'm not talking to you as your friend now, I'm talking to you as your pastor.
Yeah.
He never has to say that.
Yeah, you do that.
I look after my own cupboard.
Yep.
So, all right, to go back, I was 13, 14. I'm a boilermaker by trade.
Yep.
I did 2 years as an apprentice chef,
Yeah.
but I'm qualified as a steel construction worker, a boilermaker. But at 16, I was in a service where traditionally, I have a little different view of these terms now, but they said, who's called to full-time ministry?
Yeah.
I sort of feel now if you're a school teacher, it's full-time ministry. If you're a police officer, full-time ministry.
Yeah. Terms have changed.
But I get the term.
Yeah.
But I put my hand up when I was 16, but I only did it because everyone had their head bowed and eyes closed.
Yeah.
I was full-time in like what we call the ministry, for 10 years. And people would say, what do you do? And I would say, I used to be a boilermaker because I didn't feel I measured up to what I considered to be such a lofty calling, you know.
How old were you when you went into full-time ministry?
23.
23.
I went to Bible college in 1983, so I was 22, and then they put me on as the youth pastor that year for $25 a week. And at the end of that year, I was married with a child, and at the end of that year, they said, we'd like you to go on full-time. So I might have gone up to $90 a week. I don't know, but it was...
We started at the same rates.
Oh, for sure. And certainly I would have been doing better in my trade financially, but it's there's no way on the planet. But really, if someone said to me, how did you get into it? I just said yes. You know, someone didn't turn up to hand out the communion at the door as they used to in the old days. And they said, hey, son, will you help? Yeah, sure. And just yes, until eventually, hey, would you like to take on the church? Yeah. And I was 30 when that happened. Yeah. In fact, that's the first thing I said no to.
And it was as you said no to it initially?
I did say no to that, yeah. I was asked 4 times.
Oh, wow. Over how long a period?
About 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every month they kept coming back?
Well, my pastor, I was serving him by then in a church plant, and he said, hey, I'd like you to take the church. I said, no. And eventually he said, why do you keep saying no? And I'm not trying to be cute, you know, and I said this when I was 30.
You are cute, though.
Well, I said this when I was 30. I said, Pastor Steve, would a cat pray about being a dog? A cat would pray about being a better cat. I am not a senior pastor.
Yeah.
And at that point, he said, you haven't prayed about it, have you? And I said, well, no, why would I? He just said, go and pray.
That sounds like him too.
I came home in 2 days. I came home feeling, I even said this to Susie, honey, if you'd have told me 2 days ago I'm going to be the pastor of a church, I'd have told you, has the devil been converted? And yet I sit here today feeling like there's never been anything in my life that I was here to do more than that. It's come on me.
So sweet.
And I pastored that church. I was in that church for 27 years.
Wow. And that was a great church.
It was a
Yeah.
phenomenal
Still is,
church.
but
We never had campuses in those days.
No,
so,
it was a different
you know,
reality.
I'm probably just pandering to me now. I'm never going to be the guy that had a church of thousands. But we planted churches 15 minutes from us.
Yeah.
Byron Graham,
Yeah,
you know, sat in
Oh,
our
wow.
staff meeting for 7 years
Yeah,
every week.
Yeah.
But we planted movement churches.
Yeah.
That was the thing back then.
Yeah.
And, some incredible churches came out of that church.
Sweet time. All right, so you took that on when you were 30. Obviously, you're planted in that church, you're flourishing in that church, and then you end up leading that church. How important, because as we talk today, we got younger leaders in, we've got older leaders in, we've got people on staff, people that want to be on staff, whatever the case may be. How important is it to actually be planted in a church? Because like you're now a global church guy, like you're out and about, traveling all over the place.
But I'm still planted in a church.
You're still planted in church, but also you're in churches every week.
Yes.
And you see the good, the bad, and the ugly of church world. Praise God, there's a lot of good, and that's what we celebrate, and we'll deal with the rest. But it's like there is a whole lot of good. But how important is it for every believer, do you think, to be planted in a local church? And what does that actually mean to be planted in a church?
Well, let's Acts 20. You've got a fellow named Eutychus. Famous story. Anyone can read. It's there to be read. It says he's sitting in the windowsill as Paul is preaching.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say he's not got there early enough to get a front row seat. So he's not having a great day. And he falls asleep in the preaching of, like the Today guy, Paul.
The guy.
Yeah. And this is what it says. It says he fell to his death.
Yeah.
All right. I like to ask people, who wrote that?
Yeah.
And, of course, Luke wrote that. I said, what was Luke's profession? He's a doctor.
Yeah.
So when the doctor writes in his journal he fell to his death, the butcher didn't say that.
Yeah, he was dead.
He's the guy with the credentials to give the death certificate. Yeah. And yet the evangelist, Paul, goes down and says he's okay. So it's not a contradiction.
Yeah.
It's the clash of two worlds.
Yeah.
And this is to me where I've come up with this saying that my mother first said: church is the best place to have your worst day.
Yeah.
If Eutychus had fallen out of the stands at the football stadium because he missed church, we'd have had he's fell to his death.
Yeah.
But there would not have been he's okay.
Yeah.
That's what church can do for a person. I've been a pastor for 40 years, and pastor, I was going to come, but I felt bad. I'm not a pastor now, so I can say this. You can't. I want to slap them up the side of the head. Are you serious? That's when you needed to be in the house, mate, because church is the best place to have your worst day.
Yeah, it is.
And there's another verse, I think it's Psalm 122. It says, I was glad when they said unto me, let's go to the house of God.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what the next verse says? Now we're here. So it's not just a good idea.
Yeah.
They did it. To me, that's the key to the first verse. Now we're here. We made the effort to come. I've got 4 children, and I'm very tender when I say this, because my 4 children are all serving Christ. My oldest girl's 42, then 39. Oldest girl just is a nurse by training, 20 years a nurse. Second girl's a high school teacher. Third girl does HR for a government college. And my son is a commercial electrician. All married, all in church, all serving Christ, in their churches. Now, I'm very compassionate because I know that's not the story for every one of my friends, let alone every parent. I've seen parents that have done it all wrong and their kids serve God.
Yeah.
I've seen parents that did it all right and their kids didn't. But Susie and I have always felt that what we've tried to do with our children is if one of them slipped away, and I wouldn't talk about this if they were younger, but they're all, we wanted to be able to say, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't want to have to say, if only I'd.
Yeah.
And so we've tried to eliminate the if only I'ds.
Yeah.
And one of theirs paramount is our kids have never, ever, ever heard us say, are we going today?
Yeah.
And I do hear that with a lot of people. And so, I try to ask parents sometimes, because they're not in church, and I hope I'm not treading on toes here.
No,
but they're not in church because, I've had a mum in my church. Oh, you're not going to see us now. The cricket season's on.
Yeah.
And I say, so do you think your boy's going to play for Australia? He said, I don't think so. I said, well, I tell you what, you're taking him out of where you do want him when he's 30 to do something that he will not be doing when he's 30.
Yep.
So I think you should think that through.
Yeah. And speaking like that helps people, as in we've all been around and it's like, I don't know why some people make the choices they make. Like I said, they're not going to play for Australia. I often talk about the soccer. Soccer's big down here. Cricket in Queensland, soccer's big down here. And it's like the kid's got 2 left feet, what I mean? It's like, don't take him out of the house of the Lord because you're telling them that the house of the Lord really ain't that important. Yeah. Like when soccer's on, but soccer's not going to lead majority of kids too far at all.
Well, it's not even the child, it's the parent. If you have a look at a Casey Stoner, 2-time MotoGP world champion, his parents moved to Europe and lived in a caravan for 2 years.
Yeah.
Darren Lockyer, his parents drove him 1,500 kilometres every weekend.
Is that
from
right?
Roma to Brisbane, because he was the captain of the football team. They moved, but they wanted him to finish out the season.
Wow.
Your kids that represent Australia for swimming have a parent in the stand at 4:30 every single morning of the week.
Yep.
So it's not just a kid with 2 left feet.
Yeah.
It's the parent who.
Yeah.
So And yet, as I said, it's what do you want your child to be doing when they're 30? They're going to say, I want them to be in church serving Jesus. Well, you're taking them out of that opportunity for the very, very important years while the cement's curing.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm very kind to say it. Because in the end of the day, you can make your own choices. I'm just informing you.
Yeah. And then that's right. People make their choice. I loved hearing the story you told once. I repeat it everywhere. I give you the credit. And because one of the things that I said it to you when we had brekkie, you hopped off the airplane, we grabbed some breakfast together on the way in. And one of the things I've loved over the years with you is those throwaway pearls of wisdom that you just seem to pull from wherever. And someone was asking you about, okay, what's the key to raising your children, having them serve the Lord, staying in church? And you made reference something along the lines of, well, raising kids like catching a marlin, you just got to keep them on the line or something like that. And there's so much truth in that. And it's like we want to keep them on the line. We don't want to break the line. We want to keep the relational connection. And keep them connected to God. And so I'm forever thankful for all these pearls of wisdom that you've given me over the years. And I don't even know if you know that you gave them to me, but I just ripped them anyway. And then I'll preach them on Sunday, but I don't. No, I do give you credit. But anyway.
I believe if you steal from one person, it's plagiarism. If you steal from 20, it's research.
So getting back to planted in the house, I love what your mum said. Mum said also, what is that church is the best place to be on your worst day or
best place to have your worst day.
Yeah, and it's so true. And when I think about Jesus calling Lazarus out of the tomb, obviously he had a bad 4 days, but whatever. And he was like dead. And Jesus calls him back to life, calls him out. But then it's the church that unravels him.
Absolutely.
And I think that, for me personally, I've always been a local church guy. I think I'm falling in love with the church more and more and more the older I get, because the more I realize I can't do my life, I can't do my Christian life. I can't live the fulfilled life. I can't flourish like it says, those who are planted in the house of the Lord are going to flourish. I cannot flourish without the church. And I need the church to unravel me at times. And I'm there, praise God, to help unravel them at times. And together we get to help each other, and that's part of the deal, isn't it? Get to minister life to each other.
Yeah, there's a very clear reality to it. I had a friend of mine going through a very real challenge, and I told him, biblical wisdom. He said, yeah, very good rhetoric when you don't have the problem. I said, yeah, so it's very good rhetoric. And when you don't have the problem and I do, you'll be telling it back to me. And so that's what it is. When I'm up, you're down. And when you're up, I'm down. And so it just, Eutychus was down, but Paul helped him get up. And I guess if more scripture was written, there'd be a time when Eutychus was doing the same for somebody else. And that's one of the great reality. It helps you have a bigger world. They say that if you're not married by mid to late 20s, you should share a house, just so that you're rubbing up against other people and don't become self-centered. Well, these Christians that, again, I'm not trying to be nasty, but to do Christianity without, it's team sport.
And there is going to be rubbing up against each other, and we will stand on each other's toes.
Absolutely, and you're going to have to go home. You're going to have to sort it out. Like, I've had the same pastor for 51 years. Oh, do you think that's because we've never had a problem? I made a very clear decision with him and other people in our church. I don't know. There's a term around now, Pastor Shane, called church hurt. It's not something I have any familiarity to. When a player gets hurt on a football field, it's called injury. And then as soon as they leave the field, it's called recovery. But whereas hurt's become a static situation, they get hurt, then they're recovering. That's what an athlete does. So, I've been hurt, but then I'm recovering. And I've made decisions. I will, like with my pastor, I made a very clear decision 40-something years ago, I will not break this relationship. I refuse to give myself permission outside of illegal or immoral. And I've been blessed, but which means there's plenty of room for getting upset with personality, emotion, good day. But I took that off. Same with my marriage. I'm married for 46 years because we decided it's a cage fight. There's no door out.
So, the good thing about this, number one, you've been married 46 years. on Monday.
On Monday.
And your wife is flying to Melbourne.
Yes, she is.
On Saturday. So you can spend time together. So obviously there's still some romance in the house and love. And
Oh, she's a goodie.
She's a goodie. And she is. As in, we come from the same camp. We married up, whatever. It's like we both married up. And she's awesome. And obviously she loves you to bits. But that's the point. There is no way out.
Yeah.
As in, I don't even know if we can go here, but we live in a world that's, well, there's a lot of victim cards out there.
Sure.
A lot of people see themselves as victims. A lot of people the church hurt thing. It's like, and we're not trying to downplay the realities of hurt, but there's levels, Jerry, as in Seinfeld, the prophet. Anyway, but there's levels, and some of it is very real and very deep. Some of it, to be honest, it's like, are you for real? As in, like, I hear some stuff and I'm like, it's like, do you have a backbone? Now that's going to come across as being harsh.
Yeah, sure.
But it's like, as in Shane didn't say hello to me in the foyer. I'm like, there's 400 people I walked through. I'm trying to find someone for whatever, and I didn't say hello. And it's like, and unfortunately, we do hear stuff like that. And it's like, I'm sorry I didn't see you, but I just didn't see you.
Yeah.
And it's like, but we live in a world where people get hurt. And do you think sometimes people have unrealistic expectations of those in ministry, pastors, leaders, brothers, sisters, the body of Christ?
Yeah, I do. But to me, that's not a surprise. You know, like I said, I wouldn't even say I was in ministry when I was, because I had an unreal expectation of what it was. And so I would always revert to the past. But if I go back a different, I got great compassion for people that are hurt. But I think maybe it's just not training. I don't know. Maybe they don't have the people to tell, and so therefore they blurt it out in public spaces. And that's when I rang my pastor. To the world, I'm fantastic. People say, how you going? Fantastic. But when pastor, I'm talking to him, he says, how's your week? He says, I feel shocking. I've had a rotten week. And I remember doing this exact to him one day. And I said, look, and then I caught myself. I said, look, I don't want to make you my wailing wall. And he said this to me. He said, that's what fathers are for. But then I said, well, you need to know I don't talk to everyone like this. And he quickly said back, and that's why I listen. And if I could give some encouragement or advice to people that are hurt, have your 2 or 3 people, choose them well. You know, Facebook's not that person. You know, Facebook may be the place where you, like you never tell your story from the trench. Tell it from the parade ground. You know, that's when you wear the white uniform. You know, but in the trench, while you're still bleeding, you've got your trusted people. And so again, maybe people have to blurt it out because they haven't developed the relationships that are close to them. And I choose them very, very carefully. If I mention names, you would know them, but our listeners wouldn't, so I won't. But I've got 4 or 5 or 6 men, because I can fool the ladies. But I can't fool my species. So the people I tell are my species. And I have deliberately, you're one of them, have said you have permission to come to me, whether I invite you or not, and tell me what you think I need to hear. So I guess you've got to have a certain amount of self-respect and security to say that. And the truth is I was saying it when I didn't have security because I just knew it was the right thing to say. But and I got hurt, but I got hurt by friends. And I think that's a good thing.
And so one of the things I'm hearing over and over is, I don't know whether you'd call it language or the accent or whatever, of maturity. And that's the goal of our faith, is to become like Christ. As in, he's the ultimate example. We want to become like Christ. And so, people get hurt. But my hope and my desire in this part of this conversation is people would realize we're not actually called to be churchgoers. We're not called to be church attendees. We're called to be disciples of Christ. I actually think discipleship, there's a lot of people who want to mentor. As in, and I've done a recent podcast with Georgia Girl, talked about a lot of people want to come and sit on the couch and have a conversation for an hour, thinking that's it. Jesus said to his disciples, come follow me
Yeah.
and I'll make you, in the process of you following me,
Yeah.
I will make you into all that I intend you to be.
Yeah.
And, because some of your language, you made it a reality that you were not going to be offended.
Yeah.
As in, now you may have been hurt,
Yeah.
but there's a choice now. Okay,
That's different to being offended.
it is. So I'm hurt.
Yeah.
Is it going to become an offense that becomes offense?
Yeah.
That doesn't allow me to move into what God's got for me.
Yeah.
But my encouragement to everyone watching in would simply be, it's like we are disciples of Christ.
Yeah.
And so Jesus told us offenses are going to come.
Yeah.
But what are we going to do when they come? It's like, I know in my journey, and if Georgie was here, she'd laugh because she knows some of the stories where in days gone by, way back, before we came here, as in some of the realities with the pastors I had, I was like, man, they just cut my heart out. But you know what? I don't know that it was all actually bad.
Yeah.
As in fact, I would actually say maybe God used that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I wouldn't do it like that.
Yeah.
I'd never do it like that. But I got a feeling God did allow that for his purposes. And I found myself, when those moments happened, the biggest issue wasn't actually the pastor, it was my heart.
Yeah.
And it's like, we have a saying around here, my heart, my responsibility.
Well, it's Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart
Yep.
with all diligence,
Yep.
for out of it flows every.
Yep.
See, when we talk about offence, I see it as two words. Oh! Fence. And you can't build the fence. You bring the but I build the fence.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I decided I'd be a no fence guy instead of a no fence guy.
Which is good. No offense. That'll preach. I'll let you preach it, then I'll listen to it. What did you love most about being a pastor when you were actually pastoring a local church?
Building a team.
Building a team.
Building a team, having a team.
Yeah.
And being in the team as much as being the leader of the team.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. I live by the action. Wherever you are, be there.
Yeah.
So I'm having so much fun. People think I must have enjoyed pastoring. Not the case. I'm not doing it now.
Yeah.
But so no regret or that. But I definitely, that is something you don't quite get to do with what I'm doing now. I loved building team. Loved seeing people. Aaron Jackson's pastoring a church in Beerwah. Tony Shaw is pastoring a church in Springwood.
Yeah.
Steve Swenson is working for the Bible Society.
Yeah.
On and on and on. People that are serving Christ in ministry that have come through our ranks over 40 years is unbelievable. Now my own children are taken on the church that we were pastoring. It's very gratifying.
Yeah. I didn't know Aaron Jackson was with you. There you go.
He was my PA for 4 years.
Oh, was he really? There you go.
Yeah. He's very rare. He came, first time I ever met Aaron Jackson, I saw him in my periphery as I'm talking to someone after church. He'd never been before. Yeah. And finally I finished. He's about 6'3".
Yeah, he is.
I turned and said, "G'day, mate." He said, "My name's Aaron Jackson. I want you to know that my wife and I are here to serve your vision." Dead set. First thing he ever said to me. And
is that right?
I've heard that 100 times. You won't be in 2 weeks. And to this day, Aaron... he's such a loyal friend.
Yeah.
And a great pastor. Doing a great job.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I'm really loving, and I'm sure you are too, is so you're 60 and a bit, I'm 60, and we've seen our friends and watched our friends, and one of the things I'm loving these days is seeing the guys and girls that have still got their shoulder to the plow in the context of local church ministry.
And with some va-va-boom.
Va-va-boom.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a Queensland term.
Well, I can't think I can't quote where it is, but one of the kings, the opening line in the chapter says, "In the 36th year."
Yeah.
And I've heard Pastor Alan Davies preach on this. I can't remember what he preached, but now I preach it.
Yep.
It's the only thing we know. But if you read that chapter, things don't go so good.
Yeah.
So it's not about, you still being here. It's still being here with, like, my mother's 98, but she's perky.
She is. She's awesome.
Mischievous.
Yeah.
She's up for it. And
a little bit naughty.
That's the key.
Yeah.
And I think there's some healthy things you need to do outside the pulpit too.
Yeah.
For that to happen. Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
healthy.
Like, you know, Pastor Shane, Peter, you know when it all went south for the disciples,
Yeah.
and Peter said, I'm going fishing.
Yeah. Well,
I've never heard a pastor preach a good sermon on that,
okay.
but I do. Well,
Tell us.
let's take it through to its end. When Jesus found him, did he
Yeah.
rebuke him?
No.
No, he did not.
No.
And he cooked him breakfast.
Yeah.
Peter, I think, knew what he had to do outside of the ministry space
Yeah.
to get his balance back.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going fishing. And the other said, we'll come. And I like to tell people, it's got to be something, you got to know what you need to do.
Yeah.
So, look, for me, it might be motorbikes. For you, it's fishing. For you, it's playing snooker.
Yeah.
For you, it's reading a book. But what's your thing that helps you just, bring the balance back?
Yeah. I love that. I love that story about Peter and Jesus and going after him. And like, I love it because you just see that reality of Jesus really loves Peter.
Yeah.
And he knows that Peter loves him.
Yeah.
But he also knows he's a bloke.
Well, Jesus knew where to find him.
He did know where to
And
find
Peter
him.
went back, if you want to go another, Peter went back to where it all began.
Yeah. Yeah.
To maybe try and discover why did I give up everything to do this.
Yeah.
So he went back to, and so I do encourage guys, hey, what do you do to put yourself back together?
Yeah.
And
My one of my favorite verses is when the two Marys run out to the tomb, and the angel's there, and the angel says, "Go find the disciples and Peter."
yeah,
And it's like, I just can't help it. I feel that the Lord said, "Make sure you go get Peter,"
Yeah.
because
he'll need a special commendation
it's like
because he'll feel it the worst.
yeah, that's right, and he did because when the rooster crowed, it's like he was conscience stricken.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it. All right. So today's church, tell us about, from your perspective. I'm going to ask the good and maybe the concern, but I typically ask all the guys and girls that come in this same question somewhere throughout the podcast. What do you love and what are you excited about when it comes to today's church?
I think the next generation has always been. I think, look, the minute we don't say the next generation, we're 5 years away from extinction. And in fact, if we miss it for 1 year, we're going to lose 10.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think we always must be about the next generation. And where I go, obviously, we could go to parts of the church where it's not happening, but you don't take the measure of the future from that. You take it from, it's the arrow point that gets the breakthrough. And so in the arrow point churches that we're seeing, their commitment to next generation is insatiable. Yours here at Enjoy. I mean, your commitment to the next generation is undeniably a reason, and of course there's other people that have been with you since they were youth that are becoming that incredible strength and weight, and they're reproducing your commitment to them in other people, and we're just seeing ripples of it. I would say that I know there's a lot of criticism these days about worship, but in the churches I see that are really going forward, their devotion to worship. And, you talk to whoever you want to, and they'll tell you songs are shallow. I don't find that. I'm 65 years old, and I'm a reasonable theologian, I think, as a hobbyist at least. I think we've got incredible richness of devotion to Jesus. I've been in church long enough where we used to be like a bikie chick, all war songs and, you know what I mean? We were like, and I remember even in those days, pastors saying, well, this is good, but Jesus isn't coming back for a bikie chick. He's coming back for a bride. And I am hearing some real bride type singing going on, some incredible passion and intimacy and devotion that I believe goes beyond just the Sunday services into people's lives. So that's one thing. So commitment to the next generation. I think authentic leadership in the good churches where, I think we've dispensed with our Gucci ties and I'm not really an advocate for not ironing your shirt and looking like an absolute, dipstick, but sorry, that's Queensland. But there's an authenticity that I think Authenticity, that's a passport.
Yep.
That's a passport. That'll get you in anywhere.
Authenticity.
As you know, a lot of our churches use slogans of a derivative: love God, love people, love life.
Yeah.
And dear me, I've never said that to an unsaved person when they ask what's your church do. I said, well, look, we love God, we love people, we love life. Where they haven't said, oh yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
There's an authenticity that I think is helping us at the moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Simple statement, but at its best.
Yeah.
There's the kingdom of heaven right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just love God, love people. Serve God, serve people.
Yeah, that's it.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. Okay, so the concerns of today is that everyone knows what I love about the church today, and it's like
They don't read the Bible.
yeah, ain't that the truth right there? They don't read the Bible.
Let me say it different. This is how I would couch that, and I say this to churches a lot, or to people a lot. You see, I think we've moved the goal.
Yep.
We read the Bible, so we've done our 5 chapters.
Yep.
But the Bible never asks you to read it.
Yeah.
It asks you to know it.
Yeah.
John 8:32 says, "Know the truth."
Yeah. And the truth.
Let that. So we read a lot. We know squat.
Yeah.
And so I tell people, look, you can lick a chicken and tell people what it tastes like, but you didn't eat it. It didn't nourish you. You can't lick the chick. It's like you got to have a meal. You can open a restaurant door and smell the kitchen and describe to people what it's like, but you're not nourished.
Yeah.
And we have got to get back. Preachers have got to get back to delivering the word of God with some incredible substance.
Yeah.
I'm not an AI guy. I'm not against it though.
Yeah.
But there's to me I'm sounding like an old guy now, but there's perhaps a small fear in me that it's just so easy.
Yep.
I mean, when I went to Bible college, you used to have a paper concordance, and you used to have to look up 500 individual words to find out what a word means, where you can just, what's it called, APT, GPT, whatever.
Yeah.
And bang, you've got someone else's corporate knowledge, but that's not conviction.
No, it's not. It's not.
So I'm trying to be an advocate for. I don't read a lot every day, but I try to know something about what I read.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
And we've got to find prayer. It's what did they tell us to do when we gave our heart to Jesus 50 years ago? Yeah. They said, read your Bible. Yeah. Well, also study it. Yeah. Talk to Jesus, pray, and go to church.
Yeah.
And all these years later, they're still the things.
Yeah. I think in some of what you're saying, we know the verse, knowledge puffs up. And there's no doubt about it, it does. And so, but the word, it will build you up.
Yeah.
And if you get into the word, and like in our world, I encourage all of our people, as in don't be the iPad Bible guy.
Yeah.
Don't be the iPhone Bible guy, whatever guy. It's like have a paperback Bible that you can write in, that you can draw in, that you can muse over, that you can scribble on, that you can put that thought there that God spoke to you on that date. And it's like, be in the word of God. And it's like, because like you said, it's like, if you know the word, you'll know Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's like, not read the word, no, but if you know the word, you'll know Jesus.
And you'll know how to interpret life.
Yeah.
You'll know how to walk through life, because it'll just, it's that. I was in one of John's epistles where it says the Spirit will lead you into all truth.
Yeah.
Well, only the truth you've read and studied.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not suggesting it's not without the realms that he could just transplant it into you.
Yeah.
But really, I find he brings, the key word to the Bible is the word remember. Yeah. So I tell people, preachers aren't really, they don't know the Bible better than you folk. They just read it slower.
Yeah.
And they take in more of the view. And, Holy Spirit leads you into the truth that you've taken the time to settle in your heart.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. And but I feel confident, to be fair. I think we're going to become more polarized. The world's going to be the world, and we're going to be the church.
Yep.
I'm not a doomsday person.
No.
There's always blurred lines, but I think the church is in great shape.
Yeah.
I think it depends which end of the cow you want to look at.
Yeah.
I choose to look at the good end. And so the church is in great shape.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I was saying to someone the other day, I wouldn't mind doing a post, because I put these posts up that just whatever I'm thinking about.
You do fantastic posts.
Well, I don't know, but
you do fantastic posts.
But I wouldn't mind putting one up about culture wars.
Yeah.
And I think the culture war reality for me is not just what's happening between the world and the church, but also what's happening within the church in some spaces.
Yeah.
And I think we need to fight for really the realities of what you're talking about. Know the word, be in the presence of God, know how to worship, know how to pray.
Yeah.
As in, I think sometimes in the pursuit of, we leave the fundamentals behind.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it all may sound good, look good. At the end of the day, it's like, is it going to get you through the storms? Is it going to take you through the dark times? Is it going to help you when you really need it? I don't know. Yeah. So, okay. So we find ourselves here. We've talked about our ages. We're moving along in years. And over the last 5 or so years, we've seen a lot of our dear friends that we've done ministry with for a long time that are successful in ministries, cruising along nicely, that are either, for whatever reason, no longer in church because for whatever reason, they may have had to step out of church. Some have chosen to step out of church. It's like, what is it? What is it that, like, how do we keep that fire burning within us? How do we keep the light alive? How do we keep the wolves at bay? Because if you're in ministry, as in you've got a target on your back, the enemy's going to come for you. What do you think? Like, what do we need to be doing as ministers, as leaders, as husbands, as wives, as parents, as whatever it may be, to stay the good path and get to the age of 99, still be tracking well, bearing fruit, etc.
Well, you mentioned lots of things there, so there'd be something specific for being a husband and there'd be something specific about parents. But if they're all tied to one thing, like the balloon's up there, but the strings all come down to one in the basket, it's, and I don't want to, I'm a very uncomplicated Christian, and some people, I think, make a career out of complicating it. But Susie sent me a photo this week when I was still in America of the chair that I sit in every morning to read my scripture and have my cup of tea. And she said, looking forward to you being in that chair.
Yeah, that's sweet.
It was fantastic. I don't know. It's obviously it's very personal. But
have you got a tear in your eye at the moment?
Well, she sent a photo of the chair.
That's awesome.
And, I call it 15 minutes in the chair.
Okay.
I tell people it doesn't have to be 15 minutes and it doesn't have to be a chair. Yeah. But we celebrate the icing, but, mate, it's the cake.
Yeah.
And I sit in the chair every morning. I'm don't want to make this personal, but,
make it personal.
I just wonder, because that's what all the strings are attached to.
Yeah.
And that's where someone asked me, and I get asked this occasionally, but someone asked me specifically recently, when did you give your heart to Jesus?
Yeah.
And I said, this morning. And they laughed.
Yeah.
And I knew they would.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I understand why you're laughing, but you asked me when I gave my heart to Jesus. You didn't ask me when did I first do it.
Yeah.
So let me be clear. I gave my heart to Jesus this morning. I sat in a chair and I prayed a prayer that sounded a lot like the one I prayed when I was 14. Hey, God, I'm a stuff-up.
Yeah.
If you don't get involved with my life today, I'm done. Yeah. Lord, so thank you. Your mercies are new every morning. And then I read the word and have prayer for about as long as it takes to have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And, that's 20 to 25 minutes these days. And then that sets the tone. Then the radio's on all day for communication, but that's my prioritised time. Yeah. And I don't think we can just be, taking time. Yeah. We've got to make the time for some prioritised time. And I know that sounds far too simple. To go on further with you started by saying some of our friends, and I wouldn't want to name anyone, but I ask pastors all the time when I'm talking, who's your pastor?
Yeah.
And I'm concerned before they answer me because they look at me funny.
Yeah.
And somebody says, well, I'm the pastor.
Yeah.
That tells me straight up, I want to know who your pastor is. Because remember when David came back after Absalom was killed and the troops came back, so they were triumphant, but then David, they heard him crying because his son had been killed, and so then they lost heart. And then Joab comes in and he says, hey, what's going on? And they said, oh, David's crying. So I want you to know this, Pastor Shane. You will know this. It says Joab went to his room. And I want to make this point. It does not say Joab went to his office, and it makes no mention of an appointment.
Yeah.
I've got to believe that somewhere back, before either of these two boys had rank, when they may be still in high school or college, they said, listen, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh.
Yep.
If you see anything,
Yep. Come
hey,
talk to me.
you don't need an appointment. You can tell me.
Yep.
And so Joab did that.
Yep.
And he said, Dave, what's going on?
Yep.
He said, well, my son's dead. He said, listen, mate, this is how it's going to roll.
Yeah.
That guy was a traitor, all right? And if you don't go have a drink with the boys,
Yep.
you're going to have another few tomorrow.
Yep.
And the next verse, David's down talking to the boys, telling them.
Yep.
So he had a friend.
Yep.
I call it iron sharpening iron. Well, the Bible
Yeah.
calls it iron sharpening iron.
Yeah.
And I wonder, we're going right back to how we started this entire conversation.
Yep.
About the discipline and the importance
Yep.
of getting in good relationship, being prepared. David said, let my friends strike me,
Yeah. Yeah.
if I err.
Yeah.
And so man up,
Yep.
get a bit of steel in your jaw and, face it. So who's allowed to get in your grill?
Yeah.
Who is allowed to tell you off? That's what I say to guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love it when they can answer me
Yep.
and say, this person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I say, and when did you last see them?
Yep.
I see my pastor every month.
Yep.
He lives 2 hours from me at an easy drive.
Yep.
I see him every month
Yeah. Yeah.
without fail.
Yep.
And
Which is wonderful. And I don't know that there'd be too many guys in your position that would be seeing their pastor like that every month. As in, I know my reality is I don't get to see Pastor Glenn anything like that because he lives in California. But the reality is we touch base, we talk, we connect, but not to the...
look, if you're in a different, I do that because,
he's up
I
the road.
can. Look, if he was in, and again, this is what I've had to contend with the fellows in the country. Oh, we're isolated here. So why don't you have Zoom?
Yeah.
You got the internet.
Yep.
I mean, my phone didn't ring.
Yep.
So, so it's whatever. If you can go, don't ring.
Yeah.
If you,
Make the call.
Yep.
So the when it comes to some of the brothers that are no longer running with us in the context of local church ministry today, it's like, well, as I think about it, like there's some common traits of personality types which I'd probably fall into the same personality types. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is like if you're choleric, type A personality, goal-driven, let's go change the world.
Like most Apex leaders.
That's right. They're largely the same.
Yeah.
But the 15 minutes in the chair space, the reality of being accountable to a pastor, to a group of peers, to people that you have in your life that are they're the ordained ones, so to speak. It's for me, that's the best thing. I think about my own life and like I'm very aware, like 2023 could have been a way worse year.
Sure.
But I'm so thankful for the guys and the girls that are in my world. And some of them I serve as they serve me on the team, but some of them are out beyond. And it's during that time we text and went back and forward. And it's like, but I'm so thankful for all those people in my world. Yeah. As in, what I do know is in my own life, I can put guardrails up to keep me safe, but I can also jump over them if I want to.
Yeah.
And, this whole accountability thing, my encouragement to people leaning in and watching in today is you're only as accountable as you want to make yourself.
Sure.
Because you can go and sit with the person and tell them whatever you want to tell them, but not tell them the truth.
Sure.
That ain't going to help anybody.
Exactly. And some of our guys, some don't have an upline, but some don't have a downline.
Yeah.
And it says Judas and Absalom. Absalom, it says he hired 50 men to run before him.
Yeah.
He had a lot of followers, but who was his leader?
Yeah.
Well, Judas had a lot of leaders, but who was his follower?
Yeah.
So, if you're listening to this podcast and not watching it, if you try and pick a bar of soap up at the bottom of a shower, you apply pressure from two directions and it pushes it forward.
Yeah.
And we need, and I tell people, look, to stay real, if you're only associating up, you become arrogant.
Yeah.
But if you only associate down, you become depressed.
Yeah.
So you need both of those to push you forward. And so if you don't, say you miss church, you should get 2 phone calls that day. One should say, "Where were you?" The other should say, "Where were you?" And it's those two tensions that keep you normal, as well as the 15 minutes in the chair. And, we've seen it. You've seen the guys that come to conference and they're always slobbering over the dear me, I'm being real here, Pastor Shane. The way I dealt with that as a young kid, because I wanted to go to a conference and get a prophecy.
Yeah.
And I just found by the second I'm getting eaten. So Susie and I decided, why don't we go today and find someone who would really get a kick out of talking to us?
Yeah.
And we took them to lunch.
Yeah.
And I just found all the anxiety dissipated.
Yeah.
And so they're both important.
So you were doing that how many years ago?
30 years ago.
Okay, and what are you doing today?
Same.
Yeah, hopping on a plane to go take people out to lunch.
Yeah.
And I love that about you. You're a great encourager. You're a great encouragement. That's who you are everywhere you go. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for serving the wider church in places and spaces that a lot of people don't give a second thought about, just being really honest.
I love it.
Yeah, you do. And I love that about you, that you do love it.
Yeah.
And you're committing your life to it. You commit weekends to it. As in, because you could be anywhere preaching any weekend, but you are committing weekends very deliberately to go to places and spaces that nobody else has on their radar. And so, you know.
Well, I hope, Pastor Shane, if you go back a couple of years, I said to Susie and to the Lord, give me 2 years, I'll be able to finance this myself. Because, you know, we're at an age, and I felt rebuked by the Lord. He said, I don't want you to do this on your own.
Yeah.
If you do it on your own, it lives and dies with you. By the time you're done with this, I want this to be sown in so many hearts. So I want to be, you know, a hands-on in the bush, but I want to be a trumpet in the cities. I want young families to talk to me in 10 years and say, we live in the bush because of something you said.
It's awesome.
I mean, hey, by the way, houses are cheap out there. You buy your girl a pony, buy your boy a motocross bike, 10 acres, for, you know, a one-bedroom flat in Melbourne or Brisbane or Sydney.
That's the truth. Yeah, and a different lifestyle.
Great place to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful part of the world. Thank you. We could go on. I got all this here, but we're going to call it quits for today. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being with us here this weekend. And for all those that are watching in, if you haven't registered for Summit, make sure you get yourself registered. We're going to have a great time and really want all the enjoyers to be there. Anybody else, you're always welcome. And but to you, Pastor Steve, thank you for your friendship. Thank you for what you're so into our guys and girls and our locations. We love you. And next week, have a great time away on your anniversary.
It's been an honour. Thank you.
God bless you lots. Bye.